custom planes tool in Onshape. So I'm going to demonstrate this by making 4 different kinds of custom planes using this button right here. So first I'm going to make an extruded block, and I'm going to demonstrate how to make the planes based off of that. Okay, now that we have our block right here, I'm going to demonstrate. So firstly, a quick notice: when you're making sketches, you don't necessarily have to make a plane for every single sketch you make. You only need to make a plane if it's not already touching an existing surface, such as, for example, one of these 3 shown on my screen. So you can make a sketch directly on one of these surfaces, and you don't need a plane to do that. However, if you were going to draw something, let's say in this area, you would need an offset plane because there's no surface over there to draw. So the first tutorial is an offset plane, so you simply click this plane button right here and then you select offset. So then you're going to choose your entities, so what your plane is an offset of. I'll choose the sketch I made, and then you get to choose how much of an offset I need to get. So you need an actual surface for it to work, but you choose surface, and then you need to decide how much of an offset it has and in which direction. So in this case, I want it to be a level higher, and I want it to be 3 inches offset. So there we go. And this lets you visualize the opacity of the plane. But there we go. So this is how you use an offset plane, and you can do this to any surface, including this top, front, and right planes. If you toggle them as visible, you can offset those too. Just a quick demonstration, and you can do it in this direction this time. So the next plane I'm going to demonstrate is going to be that plane point. So for the point plane tool, you're going to want to use this if you want to select a certain point to be the center of your plane and you want it to be relating to a certain direction. So for example, if I want this point to be the center of my plane, I now have to select a surface to use, for example, right here, and now you see how that plane is related to that surface. However, if I want to, I can use this surface, and now the plane is facing this direction, and that would be the way it is oriented. So that's how you use the plane point, and I'm going to keep this. So this is going to be one of the most useful planes for you to use, is the line angle plane. So for this one, you would select a line, and it has to give a surface. It can't just be a line of a plane that there's no drawing on, and it also cannot be a curve. So this would not work in that instance. So I'm just going to choose this line, and essentially what it lets you do is it lets you select a plane that is angled to that line. So let's see. Oh, I did plane point. I was wondering why it wasn't working. Okay. So you select a line, and then you have a plane that is angled towards that line in a certain direction. So you see I can customize it, and it rotates this way, or I can input a number of degrees here. So for example, 45, and it would be oriented that way. And I can choose which direction the 45 degrees is, so I'll say this way. So the offset plane and the line angle plane are the most popular customized planes to use, and in fact, the offset plane is so useful that if you just right click on this plane, it gives you an option to make an offset plane right here. So you would use that like so. And the last plane I'm going to demonstrate is the 3-point plane. So essentially you're going to want to select 3 points, and you're going to want the plane to pass through all of those 3. So let's say this one, and this one, not a line, point. So you're going to have a plane that essentially passes through all 3 of those points. So that's an example, but I'm going to try to fool around and make something a little more unique, just for the reason that curiosity, such as the origin, and go here. And now you have a plane that passes through all 3 of those points. So that is how you use 3-point plane, and I'm going to demonstrate some more just while there's some more time. So a mid-plane. So for the mid-plane, essentially you select two faces, and it will, Onshape will create a plane that goes through the middle of those two faces. So I am so covered in planes right now. I'm gonna go through and delete these first. Okay, so to demonstrate the midplane, let's select the midplane right here. I'll select my two faces. For example, these two, and Onshape created a plane that cuts through the middle of them. So let's experiment a little bit and let's choose some faces that aren't necessarily on the same size. See, Onshape will dissect those faces and create a plane at a 45-degree angle, and notice you have the same effect if you create a line angle plane, that line that rotates 45 degrees, or you can use the mid-plane option. There's many ways to achieve the same thing in Onshape with customized planes. So that's all for the plane tutorial. The tangent and the curve point plane, I do not have the shape to do it with, but the several planes I showed are really all that you need to be able to create a good part. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you guys in the next workshop. Thank you.